Hello dear friends, and this is a summary of Cobra's report focusing on the global financial reset. Opinion piece: two opposite resets, two conflicting versions. They want a feudal world. This would be an imbalance. The positive version will win. A fairer, more natural system. A contested planetary restart. The original plan was 25,000 years ago. Collapse of a metastable society. False left-right label. Return of divine feminine energy. Magnetic field is collapsing. Galactic center about to sneeze. Revocation of contracts signed with archons. Let's start. There are two versions of the global financial restart, that of the Davos Forum and that of the coalition. These two timelines are currently battling it out, but the Galactic version will unavoidably win, says Cobra. The so-called World Economic Forum is no longer global, since China and Russia refused, nor is it economic, because they don't have enough gold to back their central banking digital currency. So, it would just be the Davos Forum, a beautiful Swiss village suitable for Heidi fairy tale. Their project would be to make the physical equivalent of a heat pump, a feudal society with too few rich and too many poor. In physics, this would be an energy imbalance. It takes a lot of energy to preserve an imbalance because it contradicts universal laws. Spreading information in a quantum way, as we do, is an obstacle for the Davos Forum. That is what all those who wear the round-colored badge of the 2030 agenda on their jacket label want. An unsustainable global tyranny where the poor would travel in bicycle and the rich by private jets. They also copied from the Galactics the 2030 project to fabricate a regressive version, as they always do. Digitalization is the means sought by the Davos Forum. They want all our financial transactions be done on our smartphone to control every penny we spend. They want to turn the smartphone into a permanent enemy and a spy. That's why I don't use a mobile phone except in emergencies. When the time is right, the resistance movement will hack the systems, because they have the best hackers in the world, but it is possible that the solar storm will have the same effect. Critics. According to the Transnational Institute, the Davos Forum plans to replace a recognized democratic model with a model in which a self-elected group of stakeholders make decisions on behalf of the people. The think tank summarizes that we are increasingly entering a world where meetings like Davos are, in quotes, a silent global coup d'etat to capture governance. Many detractors often cite Ida Auken's piece on a possible 2030, as well as a video from the 2016 Davos Forum, where the piece was presented alongside other predictions for 2030 and summarized as, in quotes, "You will have nothing, and you will be happy. You will rent what you want, and it will be delivered to you by drone." Canadian politician Spencer Fernando stated that we want our lives back to normal. Instead, they just offer more fear, more control, more centralization, and reshaping of our lives and our economy without even asking us. On 13th December 2020, advertising executive Rowan Dean told Sky News Australia that This great restart is a serious and dangerous, a threat to our prosperity and freedom, as we have faced in decades. Close quotes. Opinions are often labeled left or right, but both labels are absolutely false, because both sides have the same controllers, and because truth is neither left nor right, but common sense. If we say that 2 and 2 add up to 4, is that left or right? They put toxic labels so as not to reason or argue their opinion. If you ask them to define their label, they never do. Many use the words fascist or communist as an insult without knowing what they are talking about. I never use those words because they are tainted with political hatred. An unstable system. In August 1971, the gold standard was changed with a lot of counterfeit money. The artificial system they are trying to create in Davos is so far removed from nature that it creates an unstable system according to the second law of thermodynamics, and will therefore collapse. In the background, another fairer and more natural system is being created. The forces of light are going to use the gold they have to create a new transitional financial system based on precious metals, funds stolen from humankind, and the quantum computer network. We have to live in the present with what we have while the miracle is coming. We have to do something now, each one fulfilling his or her mission. Money brings choice and freedom to do things, but it's not enough. Free energy would only be possible in an open system, so it will come after the event. The transitional financial system is needed before and during the event. The original plan was 25,000 years ago, and it didn't work. The change that is coming is a group manifestation of the lightworkers, who have been visualizing it for decades. There are the laws of creation. Very few people decide how things are going to be done and do them. The energy of creation manifests in a wormhole. The masses of humankind are lazy and unwilling to change reality. The lightworkers rectify the timeline. They have much strength. Intention must be held long enough to bear fruit. Planetary reset. Collapse of a metastable society. The word restart has become very common. The dark forces stole this idea from the forces of light, as always, who spoke about it over 10 years ago. Planetary restart is a necessity and cannot be avoided. The structure of humankind is such that it has made decisions that make a restart unavoidable. As of 2019, it was mathematically certain that there was no way to avoid it. From August 2019, the forces of light began to prepare key members for this restart. The dark forces use this information to organize their own plans. The health crisis is the responsibility of the lightworkers, as key people have been compromised. How society breaks down. After becoming accustomed to expansion and comfort, people get used to it. They become less creative. There are small breakdowns, but trust is beginning to erode. Smarter people are noticing this and are starting to prepare. Less and less capable people are coming to the fore and making a lot of mistakes. Society can manipulate certain individuals. We are in a metastable state. Then Ukraine. Shock after shock. Everything will collapse. The closer you get to collapse, the more instability there is. There are cracks in the matrix. The dark forces don't know how people will react because we are in a metastable state. Everything is blurred. The forces of light are ready to seize this opportunity when the time is right. No mistake should be made, because it could collapse everything, but it could take a little longer. The forces of light will do something at the moment of collapse, but they cannot afford any mistakes. There will come a time when a critical mass of people will have had enough, and this is where the forces of light will intervene. There will be chaotic times, but it will be for the best. It is not easy to deprogram populations. There has to be a psychological realignment to the new reality. There will be psychological shocks. People have made mistakes because they have lied to themselves. They are letting the situation fester so that people will cry out for direct divine intervention. The health crisis has allowed the forces of light to model how people reacted in shock, and the forces of light understand it better now. We no longer have time. Nature will not wait. We are coming to the pole shift. It's not about being ready. Do your best in every moment. Before the event, the lightworkers need to find the best therapist, and after the event, they will receive much help. The return of the goddess. A galactic wave of divine light is approaching us. The galactic pulse is not just a physical shift. It is a huge wave of energy emanating from the galactic center. The wave will appear suddenly. When the black holes have been eliminated, a wave of galactic love will appear. We will begin to feel this presence. An important aspect is the return of the energy of the goddess, that sacred feminine energy. At the time of Atlantis, it was strongly felt, particularly in the Neolithic. 5,000 years ago, the first archon invasion destroyed temples and priestesses. Everything was almost forgotten, and we need to remember, because with memory comes knowledge. In Malta, for example, there was a temple of the goddess. The divine feminine energy will come back to memory. Many years ago, with the help of Isis Astara, the Sisterhood of the Rose was recreated. It is a very ancient society that keeps the flame of the goddess. This energy makes everything around us more beautiful and brings beauty back to art, architecture and music. Coming out of the matrix. Someone asks why the Earth was invaded. Cobra answers that Earth is placed in a very interesting place, a bit like interesting real estate. That's why it was invaded. Every humankind has attachments to the two basic chakras connected to reptilian base. For every human being, there is a reptiloid. You have to maintain your will. Don't let yourself be provoked. Reptilians exacerbate lower emotions. We must get out of irrelevant conflicts and not to listen to stories of conflict. They will try to create as much tragedy as possible. People are connected to the matrix and want to stay there. When the event comes, people will refuse to wake up. The forces of light will shut down all technologies at the time of the event. Especially social networks like Signal will work. To leave the matrix is to cut ties, including those of the mind. People will have to be forced to disconnect. The event will be forced by the forces of nature. Nature has had enough. The animals have had enough. The ascended beings have had enough. The Galactic Confederation has had enough. The Galactic Center has had enough, and it's about to sneeze. You have to maintain your integrity. If you are in a job that doesn't suit you, you have to change jobs. Someone asks why so many animals on the planet are starting to spin. Cobra explains that the magnetic field is collapsing, and it's no longer uniform. There are different poles now. The magnetic field is chaotic. The animals are confused because they can't find the magnetic field anymore. That's why they go around in circles. Revocation of contract. Contracts signed with archons limit our possibilities. Cobra had the complete revocation of the contract repeated out loud 3 times. In quotes. In the name of the I am that I am. In the name of the divine presence of the soul that I am. In the name of all ascended beings of light. In the name of the Galactic Confederation. In the name of the Galactic Center. I decree an order to annul and invalidate all my past, present and future contracts and agreements made between any part of my being and the dark forces. All such contracts and agreements and all their consequences are now completely erased from my reality. I am now free. All the karma of my entire being is now also cleansed. I am sovereign and free being of light, from now until eternity. So be it, and so it is. In the light. Write first and last name and sign. Cobra advises handwriting this contract revocation 3 times in a row, when you feel guided to do so. Physical reality is the result of quantum thought. Our consciousness has an influence on the quantum field. If you focus on something, it manifests. When you have a big problem, you have to fix the small part that you can fix. This will have an action on the quantum field that tends towards harmony. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.